Oh my gosh. You didn't hear anything good. Anyway, sorry about that. Um, yeah, let's get into it. Um, it's Andrea. Here I am back for my weekly lesson. And today we're going to talk about scales and cadences. And if the words sound scary to you, just relax because that's why I said made easy. And I'm going to explain everything in the simplest way possible. So if you've got any experience in this already, there will be an advanced layer for you or a more advanced layer. Anyway, so everybody talks about learning scales, and sometimes people say you don't really need to learn scales because if you major on playing scales, then everything you play sounds like a scale you practiced and, doesn't have that warmth of, human creativity. So, I suppose that's true if that's all you but, it's just like anything else. You need skills and you need a toolbox, so to speak, and, um, and then once you have that, you can go forward with, how to apply things in a creative way. So, let's get started. Um, Scales and cadences are just the chords, the primary chords, and the notes of the major scale. That's how we're gonna approach it today. So, for a guitarist, I think the easiest, scale to play is G major on these first 3 strings. So, we are gonna start with that. So, if you've ever heard this was something that started waking me up about scales and chords, and that is I mean, of course, I practiced them because all my teachers said I that really helped. And, um, and then I noticed pianists, when they play scales, they don't just play scales. They don't just run scales up and down. They play their scale, and then immediately they do and when they take exams or they play for grades or whatever, they play the scale and they include the cadence. And so that's how they're taught from as soon as they're capable of playing 3 notes together. So, and I heard this when I was in college. I heard it through the practice room walls. Of course, they were running multiple octave scales and doing it for majors and minors and so forth. Um, and then again, when, my son studied piano, his teachers had him play the scales that way. And, uh, and then I would attend events with some of my students. Hello, Sherry Smith. Hi. You can hang around or not hang around. It would, you're welcome to and you're welcome to comment if you have anything to say. Um, so yeah. Did you ever notice this, that all the pianists you know play and if you took any piano yourself, you had to play scales with cadences, right? Like, just naturally, they expected you to do that. And, yeah, so I noticed that all my colleagues, when I would go to an event, like a local festival with some of my kids that had prepared a piece, like an easy classical piece or something, and or even a hard classical piece, the pianists were always practicing with their warm-ups with scales and cadences. So, uh, but it wasn't until some of my own students came to their lessons and said, I'd say, "Well, if we were gonna play chords to this, what would the chords be? What are the most important chords in the key of G?" "I don't know. I don't know anything about chords." All my friends at school who play guitar play chords. I said, "Do they play any other kind of pieces?" "No." "Do they know how to read music?" "No," because we were learning those things. Anyway, so that's when I thought, "Why don't we learn cadences with our scales?" I mean, why not? We are a multi-timbral instrument, we can play more than one note at a time. Let's do it. So that's what I started doing, and when I said to my students or anybody, whether they were kids or adults, do you know what the primary chords in a key are? They would say 1, 3, 5. Now that's not right, right? Right, it's not right. And I found that music theory formulas hey, AJ. Music theory formulas were confused. And so, this was how I did it. How did to get them to relate to the whole scale, and that was hold your hand up, and I don't care how old you are, this works, okay, because it's tactile. We're gonna count our fingers. Do it exactly as I do it. 1, 2, so don't shake that one. 3, don't shake that one. 4, shake that one. 5, shake that one. Let's do it one more time. So, it's a good workout for your hand too. Loosens it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 1, 4, and 5. When we're talking about a key and when we wanna find the primary chords, okay, AJ, grab your guitar. Then you don't have to. The information will be here and the video will be here forever, you know, I think, unless there's an apocalypse or something. But anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That other formula and many other formulas that you will learn have to do with other aspects of music theory, but for this one, just remember 1, 4, and 5. So for months and years, if somebody gets confused, I say, "Well, do you remember when we did the thing with the fingers?" "Oh, yeah. Which fingers did we shake?" And they remember. So, good deal. All right, and this can help you too. So as I said, we're gonna start with the key of G, and on guitar, it's this easy: G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. However you choose to play the notes, for now, we're just gonna use these first 3 strings: G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. All right, so that's the scale. Now how do you play a G chord? Okay, if you were a beginner student, you could play what has sometimes been called baby G. Just put your pick on the 4th string or your finger on the 4th string and go forward. So this is the absolute easiest thing. At least G scale and the 1 chord. All right? But you could do baby versions of the other chords as well. And you know, so let's say you have enough facility to play these chords, then that's the way you want to do it. In fact, sometimes I just want to hear the whole measure, which gives you the sound of the resolution at the end. So you just played your first scale and cadence. Congratulations. That's pretty easy. So for us in this position and this key. So we could move on to other keys, and we may do that in subsequent weeks. And I would also like to connect chords all over the neck, so we would do those cadences in other positions. But let's just finish this one up for now. That's your first scale and chord in the easiest position possible. All right, let's move on to this one. This is an open position because it includes open strings, so you can't really move that around. Although this is a cool technical thing to do sometimes. Anyway, so the in position movable scale is this one. G, A, B, C, D, E. And we could do these same notes, but you'd have to start here. So, the good news about this is that you can do any scale you want. Just pick one of those octaves for now. I'll use the lower one. Okay. And So the chord, if you could do the same chords. So if your technique is only developed at a level where you can do the movable scales, but you're not yet doing the bar chords that go with them, then just do the open chords. It'll still get the tone of the, like I said, the resolution of how the chords fit together. That's how the pianists play it, but for us, I just go right for it. So you hear the resolution at the end. So there. So that's the long and short of it to get started. And like I said, future topics will involve, because this is another thing, right? This concept is not that hard. Yes, if you're going to learn all the scales and then you're going to do the minors and then you're going to do all the cadences, it'll get complicated. But why worry about all that now? Let's just understand it. And with this idea of remembering which fingers are the primary ones, and that's why we do the tactile thing of shaking them 1, 4, and 5, because you don't have to shake them forever. If I just remind you and say, which fingers did we shake? Oh yeah, it was 1, 4, and 5. So then you used to play piano and trying to play guitar, you're just never able to get there. Yeah, that's why I started all this streaming. It started on February 11th, which was Get Out Your Guitar Day, and, I think it doesn't matter what your level is, if you just wanted to pick it up and have a little fun with it, or if you want to really develop your skills and be very good, uh, we still yes, hard work, definitely, but still have to be able to have some fun with it, so and, that's why I'm trying to keep these lessons kinda short and, give you one big idea. So, we will talk more about the scales and chords as we go forward, because a lot of kids, when they go to school, they don't have a guitar orchestra like they have an orchestra or a band or whatever. So, if you play guitar, the only thing for you in a school, at least around here, is to play in the jazz band, which is like telling you, "Well, can you do advanced chemistry? Great." And you kinda have to do something easy first. And thankfully, there are more guitar programs developing in public schools, so that's a good thing. But anyway, so we will be able to build on these concepts and get more complicated because, in order to do arrangements of, fingerstyle arrangements of songs you wanna play and stuff like that, you do have to know more about how the chords fit together, and that mysterious thing called the, cage system. So, yeah, there's a lot more out there for sure compared to back in the day. Yeah, there is definitely. Yeah, I heard, another friend that was streaming this morning say, "Yes, I'm working on this right now," and somebody asked a question that was very basic about some other aspect, and he said, "This is what you look for," and there's a lot of basic videos that address that. So find those and, we'll do what we're doing here. So anyway, this would be one of the ones you would find, I guess. Anyway, um yeah, so I wanna address some of these in terms of being able to arrange for jazz and, understand the, cage system and how the chords fit together. So that's what I was referring to when I said, "We're doing this scale here, it's movable." And sometimes you should just take steps to do things like this movable scale because, then you have that in your fingers in your toolbox. And, you can also start that same exact pattern on the 5th string. So just for the sake of the technique of it, that's, something you could start practicing already, and, not getting bogged down in the, all the things that are coming because, you can only eat a pizza one bite at a time, right? Right. So that's kinda what I'm talking about. So anyway, how about a couple of chords? Yeah, I got a long way to go to sound like Tommy, right? Anyway, let me see if I can do it. It's got a kangaroo on the end of it. Yeah, there you go. You know Australia, right? Okay. Any questions? Any comments? I got a nice comment from Sherry saying 100% agree. And so I did not have fancy graphics prepared. However, like my friend said, there are books full of those things, and hopefully, because because this video will be left up, you can look at the fingerings. All right, we are at 16 minutes, so I don't want to keep you, but if there's questions, we can sure have a lively discussion. Right. And AJ, who is an informed audience member, it's fun to play for. So, all righty. Well, thank you, Sherry, and thank you, AJ, for your comments. And to anybody that's out there, thank you for being here. And I will be back next week with another idea. And remember, have some fun with it. Okay. Thank you, AJ. Thanks for the like. All righty. See you next week.